There is only one starting player in this entire matchup. Welcome to Fantasy Football Free for All. This week, Thursday Night Football, Bears, Buccaneers. Wow, talk about an unexciting matchup. Yes, Tom Brady threw multiple touchdowns, looked like 36-year-old Tom Brady. But holy cow, are his weapons depleted. We've got Godwin out. Leonard Fournette, doubtful. O.J. Howard, out. Leaves us with a hampered Mike Evans, Scotty Miller, who's also questionable, Leonard Fournette, who's doubtful, Ronald Jones, who's unlikely, and Rob Gronkowski, who has yet to prove that he can be a consistent fantasy asset. This is like a huge issue for the Buccaneers. I mean, their defense is going to be shouldering the entirety of this game. And I think they're a starting defense. But I don't know how you can count on any of these options with any sort of confidence. Ronald Jones has done nothing to prove that he is the standalone workhorse back. Sure, he got, a handful of carries and to score last week, but you're not excited about that production. It's very concerning. I would normally say, based on the downgrade in weapons for Tampa Bay, this must be an absolute killing. The other team's going to whoop them up. But on the other side of the ball, we have the most inept team in the NFL. And they're 3-1. The Chicago Bears have no business being 3-1, folks. Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, neither of them is the option. I struggle to understand where Matt Nagy's head's at. Neither of one of these quarterbacks has any potential to be kind of a top-tier quarterback option. I know folks say that Foles is a good locker room and he's a clutch player, but you need somebody that's going to get you through the regular season. And that's not Nick Foles. At running back, we've got Cordero Patterson and David Montgomery. David Montgomery is going to be your bell cow, but, are you really feeling that comfortable against this stout Buccaneers defense? Cordero Patterson has been a flash in the pan multiple times, but has provided no consistent value. I don't know how you can trust anyone in this backfield. If I am an owner of David Montgomery, I'm sitting for a couple of weeks unless I see something different, and I might be getting out of the David Montgomery business, with the exception of keeping him on my bench. It's just, there's so little to be excited about in this running game. The offensive line isn't doing anything. You're just not getting any production at quarterback. These backs aren't good pass catchers per se. There's no diversity going on. It's just the same 4 plays, running up the gut, and David Montgomery not getting any separation. Could he fall into the end zone? Sure. But I'm not starting David Montgomery this week in any league. And I don't think you should either. In the passing game, we have 3 options. We have Allen Robinson, who is a must start. He is going to get whatever yards Nick Foles can throw through the air. You just have to start him. He's probably going to get into the end zone. He's their biggest red zone target. You don't have a choice. He's the biggest talent on this team. Anthony Miller, who is nobody's excited about. He's a deep bench stash. He shouldn't be in lineups unless you're somebody that's really dealing with the potential postponements. And then Jimmy Graham, who has gotten in the end zone a couple of times, but he's doing nothing that makes you excited to start him. It's one of these teams where you're just like, why am I involved? Like, I got to get out of the Bears business because they are just a disappointment. It's not like I had huge aspirations, but this is so low for everybody but Allen Robinson that I don't know how they're even on your team. The Bears defense is a shell of its former self. with the injuries to Akeem Hicks and, just mediocre line play and cornerbacks that aren't living up to expectations, I don't know how you can start them with any confidence. It's just this really mediocre Thursday night game. I think there was more excitement from a fantasy perspective in the Jets-Broncos game. I don't know why you're starting anyone here. I guess if Mike Evans plays, you're starting him. You have to start Allen Robinson. Maybe Rojo. But everybody else is really a mediocre play. It's just so concerning. And then going in to the rest of week 5, we've got all of these potentially postponed games. If you're an owner of a Titans player, a Bills player, a Pats player, I'm thinking you got to look elsewhere this week and pray that you're going to be able to find somebody of value. Josh Allen is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, and because of this COVID explosion, we're likely not going to get him for this week. I just don't think there's any way that game plays. So that means you have to look elsewhere for Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, Stephon Diggs, John Brown, Cole Beasley. And Josh Allen. That's huge. Plus, we don't have all the Titans players, Jonnu, Derrick Henry, Tannehill, Corey Davis, even though he kind of sucks. And, and Brown, A.J. Brown, what are you going to do? You need to fill out this depth. And that leaves you in a tough position. Normally, I'm saying, don't go anywhere near any Jets players, including Jamison Crowder. But this week, Jamison Crowder looks like an okay option. What kind of year are we in? Well, that is our Week 5 Thursday Night Football rant. Thanks for joining us on Fantasy Football Free-For-All. We'll talk to you later in the week with injury reports.